Hello, world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. Welcome to the free international webinar series brought to you by the Institute of Global Professionals, or IGP. We are pleased to have you join us for the 303rd episode and for taking part in tonight's session. And we are coming to you live via StreamYard on Facebook and YouTube platform. Thank you, folks, for finding time and attending tonight's or today's webinar. We hope you enjoy the program tonight. And if you do, please let us know. Gafur Impanimbang here, an assistant professor from Adyong Memorial Polytechnic State College here in Lanao del Sur, Philippines, and a proud member of the Institute of Global Professionals, which is sponsoring this webinar series. And I'm so privileged to be your host for today's or tonight's webinar. The Institute of Global Professionals, or IGP, is an ISO certified training institute and a globally recognized multi awarded international professional organization. We are a nonprofit training institute dedicated to making it possible for anyone to learn anything and anywhere for free online at any subject level. Here at IGP, we provide free online and offline learning platforms for education and skills training for both students and professionals like you, backed by international speakers and coaches from all over the world. True to our mantra, feed your skill, it is our mission to empower people by providing an overall learning experience that meets your needs and helps you to achieve your life goals. We believe that free education, more than anything, has the power to break through boundaries and transform lives. I will quickly go through some points to note so we all have a seamless webinar experience. Our speakers for tonight will have the floor for about 45 to 6 minutes in the presentation. And after the speaker's presentation, we will conduct a short question and answer session. So, if you have any content related questions you would like to ask to the speaker during the webinar, please type them into the chat window and we'll address them during the Q&A session. We would like to get through as many of your questions as possible. Throughout the presentation, guys, you will see a couple of questions pop up on your screen that would allow you to get engaged with us while the presentation is going on. And we appreciate you guys answering those questions coming in. Today's or tonight's session is being recorded to be available for viewing post conference on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. That's Institute of Global Professionals. We are using our FB page and our YouTube account to store webinar recordings and make them available for public viewing. After this session, we will be posting this recorded webinar on our YouTube channel for you to watch a replay in case you want to review anything. And we welcome you to revisit the content yourself and share it with your colleagues. It would also be greatly appreciated if you could smash the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way, you'll be notified every time we upload a new webinar video every single day. And we're so excited to inform everyone that our website maintenance is now finally over. Our system was restored back to its normal state. That means you can now download those e-certificates you happen to miss out starting November 1 up until now. Although not as seamless as before, but still, you can download those certificates. Just visit our website at www.eduigp.com for more information. Your continued support is appreciated. Join us on our exciting and interactive online quiz game competition happening after the speaker's presentation. And if you wish to join with the quiz game competition as player, just go to slido.com using your own device and browser. And once you land to the homepage of slido.com, you will see a window asking you to type in the event code. Just simply type in the event code and press enter, and that's it. Or you can just scan the QR code for fast access. The event code, by the way, and the QR code will be posted on the screen just before the quiz game begins. So please stick around with us till the end. Lucky top 10 players who would have the most correct answers and fastest response time will receive a quiz completion certificate, again, courtesy of the Institute of Global Professionals. And hey guys, if you like what we're doing here, please show us your support by sharing this webinar program to your social media communities. Keep on inviting your friends and colleagues you care about so they can benefit from these programs too. And if you like this program, again, smash the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that already. We also invite you guys to leave us a comment as we'd love to hear from you. All right. And today or tonight's episode is of particular interest to those of our teachers, instructors, and students alike who are still in the process of adapting to the so called new normal way of learning and teaching in this pandemic era, as our topic for tonight is all about uncovering digitized teaching and instruction. And we're so lucky enough to have with us two brilliant speakers from the Philippines to share with us their knowledge and expertise on the subject matter. So I would now like to welcome Ma'am Maribeth R. de la Cruz, who happened to be my co-host here in IGP, and Sir Ricky C. Montano. So without further ado, we will now turn over to our speaker for tonight's or today's event. So ladies and gentlemen, to share her thought on digital citizenship, we are very fortunate in having us here Ma'am Maribeth R. de la Cruz, all the way from the Philippines. Welcome to the show, Ma'am Maribeth.
Hello, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. Good day to all of you, to all my IGP friends, family, and I consider IGP as my family already, and also my
Exactly.
the the entire IGP community. Good evening, good day, good afternoon to all of you.
All right. So I think before you get straight to your presentation, Ma'am Maribeth, I wonder if you could say just a little bit about yourself for our live audience to get to know more about you.
Yes, sure,
Sounds
sir.
good? All right.
First, allow me to thank Kausik Data for giving me this privilege to be one of the speaker for today's webinar. Just like what you have said, I'm sure some of our audience are already familiar with me since I am one of the
Yes.
regular hosts of IGP. But still, allow me to give my brief self-intro.
All right.
um, what shall I say? Well, I am Marbet de la Cruz, a licensed professional teacher from the Philippines, and I've been in this industry for a couple of years. I've already experienced teaching from preschool up to tertiary level. But then I think teaching primary level is my passion. So right now I am teaching grade 4 in Addition Hills Integrated School, that is Schools Division of Mandaluyong, NCR, Philippines. And then other than this, other than being a teacher and other than being with IGP, I am also affiliated with ADGIL Philippines. ADGIL stands for Academic Development for Global Leadership in Education, and I am a member, a resource speaker, and also a demonstration teacher of ADGIL. I am a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Communication Arts and English at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. That is very Tagalog, Filipino. I have completed the academic requirements in Master of Arts in Education major in Administration and Supervision at Hioloyo Amang Rodriguez Institute of Science and Technology. I am indeed privileged to be given this opportunity today to share to you a very timely topic, which is all about digital citizenship. This is actually a very broad topic, but for today, to the best that I could, I would like to contextualize my discussion in the educational system during pandemic period, just like what you have said, Sir Gapor. And this will be all about us teachers and as well as our learners. I personally believe that this is a very timely topic. Then allow me to share my screen,
Sure.
sir.
Yes. The
Okay,
virtual floor is now yours, my Mary Beth.
thank you, sir. Okay, let me see. Is it visible now? Okay,
Yes. We are now seeing your
okay.
slide presentation. All
Yes.
right.
Thank
You're
you so
good to
much,
go.
sir, Gaffer. Okay, thank you. Okay, this will be my topic for today. It's all about, okay, give me for that. It's all about digital citizenship. Um, to start with, as a starter, I'm trying to look at the FB Live if we're on the FB Live already. But as a starter, to all the participants that we have here today, I have a task for you to do. I would like you to write or type in our comment section what comes in your mind as you look at the poster that I am showing right now. Just simply share your interpretation of the poster, or you may also share your idea or insight about the topic. I just simply want to have a glimpse of what you have in mind about our topic for today. That is all about digital citizenship. Okay, let me see. Okay, just type in whatever comes in your mind upon looking at the poster that you have in front of you right now. I can't find the FB Live right now. Okay. Then allow me to read some of your comments. I have here from Lamberto, making use of gadget and internet in education. That is from Lamberto Pilatan. And then we have here technology used by people today from Herbert de Gaspi. And then what else? Technology. Yes, it's all about technology. Being responsible user of technology. This is a very excellent answer. Someone says digital equipment uses in people's life. Okay. Metaverse and then information communication. What else? What else do we have? Enlightenment through the use of technology. Okay, thank you very much, guys. This is what I love most about IGP participants. You know, whenever I am the host, you are very active, participative, and also supportive. Thank you guys for all your comments. Although I was not able to read all of those, but I think somehow you have the idea about our topic for today. Digital citizenship is about the technology that we are using nowadays especially during pandemic days. Then, in my discussion for tonight, I will be focusing on the following objectives. Let me give it to you. First is for us to understand the responsibilities of digital citizens, and then for us to recognize the 9 elements of digital citizenship. Next is differentiate digital natives from digital immigrants. And lastly is for us to be able to appreciate the technological advances in our society. Although the pandemic affected most of the industries in the world, education continued to thrive with the help of technology. I hope all the teachers and everybody will agree with me with this. Imagine if this pandemic happened 20 years or 25 years ago. What do you think could or would have possibly happened to the educational system all over the world? Well, during that time or back then, there are only very few people who had access to technology and internet. I'm afraid many children would be forced to stop schooling, or most probably there would be no other choice but to use printed modular approach, or education would probably sort into radio broadcasting or TV broadcasting. And then wherein monitoring and evaluation of learners' performance would be very challenging for us teachers. In that case, also the teacher-learner interaction will be obliterated from the system. The emergence of digital technology prevented all of that from happening. As we know, although many schools closed during the pandemic, teachers could still communicate and reach out to the learners despite of what had happened. That is with the assistance of the different learning platforms, such as we have the Zoom meeting, the Google Meet, the Messenger class, Discourse, what else is the talk, and the like. These are the video and web conferencing platforms wherein chat, audio, video, and screen sharing are being used to communicate or transfer data with our learners. Technology has completely revolutionized the way we live our life during pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and will continue until post-pandemic period. It has reinvented the way we work, the way we teach, we learn, and how we shop, and most importantly for teachers, how we deliver learnings to our students. This incident, in fact, ushered all of us to become digital citizens. As teachers, we need to keep ourselves abreast or updated with the current trends in education and technology since education drastically transformed into digital era or electronic technology catalyzed due to pandemic. Aligned with this transition is the hidden curriculum, which is incorporated in the modification of educational system during this period. Okay, what is hidden curriculum? Did you know that digital citizenship is an unspoken curriculum it is also known as hidden curriculum, which has influenced the educational system first because of technological advances we have nowadays, and also because of the pandemic that affects the entire world. What is hidden curriculum? It is a set of lessons which are learned but not openly intended to be taught in school, such as the norms, values, and beliefs conveyed in both the classroom and the social environment. It refers to any type of learning experiences, which may include um, unintended lessons. However, the concept of hidden curriculum often refers to knowledge gained specifically in primary and secondary school setting. It has usually it usually have negative connotation. Actually, hidden curriculum is described as a side effect of education where lessons are learned but not openly intended. These are the experiences that every learners gain in school which are not written or stated in the curricula. Hidden curriculum, therefore, nowadays refers to norms, values, and beliefs delivered in the e-classroom and e-social environment unintentionally. These are the experiences that the students gain while they participate in the digital world and online classes. This instance actually brought us, because of this instance brought us to become digital citizens. And who are the digital citizens? Okay, digital citizens refers to a person who has the knowledge and skills to effectively use digital technologies to communicate with others, participate in the e-society, create and consume digital content. And then as the entire educational system shifted from conventional learning into remote learning during the height of pandemic, many teachers and learners, both teachers and learners, migrated into digital world, thus making us all digital citizens. If not all over the world, I believe most places where digital access is available. Technology become very useful in the sustainability of education. In many ways, technology become the integral part of education. In this technology-rich learning environment, teachers should also be equipped with the skills to direct students to use technology properly. Digital citizenship is now an integral part of students' learning experiences. Now, let's define digital citizenship. Okay, digital citizenship is defined as the ability to engage with the internet and technology in a safe and meaningful way. It includes appropriate online etiquette, literacy on how to use digital technologies, as well as the understanding how it works. Also, awareness of ethics and related law. Staying safe online. It also refers on related health and safety issues such as malware and permanence of data. Digital citizenship can be defined as the norms of appropriate, responsible behavior in relation to technology use and digital access, that is, having the full electronic participation in the society. Also, digital citizenship is about confident and positive engagement with technologies in the digital world. By educating our students about digital world, they will have the opportunity to develop the understanding of the responsibilities of digital citizens. Because in engaging and using technology, there are responsibilities that lies or that are associated within it. What should we teach our students about digital citizenship? Let's teach them to participate to practice proper etiquette online by understanding the consequences of what they post online, and also by not entertaining strangers for their own safety. Also, they should always play fair when they are online, choose friends wisely, and they should also know what is right and wrong. Always, they should learn to uphold the right thing always. As technology users, we need to be aware that not everyone has the same opportunity when it comes to technology access. Therefore, as teachers, we teachers need to minimize the digital divide in the classroom setting by providing equal learning experiences both for the learners with internet access and learners with no capacity to access internet. We will expound this further later. Okay. As teachers, let's help our students or learners to understand also that digital citizenship comes both freedom and responsibilities. In freedom, we can do anything we want in the internet, but then it is coupled with our responsibilities. Okay, this involves using digital technologies effectively and not misusing them to take advantage of others. Being good digital citizens, we should always keep in mind that while we are using the technological advances that are at hand, we should still give high regards or respect to ourselves as well as others. Always consider appropriate, responsible behavior when using technology. This includes social media, websites, online forums, communities, comments, and in-apps and other device features. Teaching our students digital citizenship skills can help prevent cyberbullying and its negative effect. Let us teach them to behave responsibly both in the digital world and also in the physical world. There are actually two types of digital citizens. One is the digital natives, and the other one is the digital immigrants. As we go on, we will be differentiating the two, who are the digital natives and who are the digital immigrants. In which classification or group do we belong, we as teachers, and also in which classification or group can we categorize our learners. Okay, digital natives are the new generation of young people born into the digital age, while digital immigrants are those who learned the use of computers and adapted the use of technology. Let's elaborate this further. Okay, digital native is a term created by Mark Prensky in 2001 to describe the generation of people who grew up in the era of ubiquitous technology, including computers and internet. Mark Prensky is an American writer and speaker on education. He is best known as the creator of the terms digital native and digital immigrants, which he described in 2001 article in On the Horizon. And then let's describe it further. Many teenagers and children in developed countries are considered to be digital natives as they mainly communicate and learn via computers, social networking services, and texting. They are the generation who are consider technology. They consider technology as integral part of their lives. They live their entire lives in the digital age, but not we should always remember this, but not all children born today are digital natives because not all of them are given equal opportunity to explore and experience the digital world. Children born in less affluent areas or less exposed to technology are less exposed to technology compared to children who are born in a well-developed places or countries. And then let's describe digital immigrants. They are the people who have had to adapt the new language of technology. A person who started using digital technology, computer, or internet during their adult life, but did not grow up or raise up using them. Digital immigrants are approximately 30 to 60 years old, and they are the early and late adopters of technology. These individuals often in the Generation X or the Zinnial generation, born in the late 1970s to early 1980s and even older. They did not grow up with the ubiquitous computer age or the internet. Instead, they are those who had the analog childhood, then got digital on their young adulthood, so they have had to adapt the new language and practice of the digital technology. Do you still remember the analog technology? Are you still familiar with it? Do you remember the tape recorder we had before? And also the photocopier. And one thing is the old landline that we usually see on television, wherein there's a hole and you put your finger on it. Those are examples of analog technology. They are the digital immigrants because they can never be as fluent in technology as a native who was born into it. Okay? Now, let's analyze this picture. Look at the picture. Who are the digital immigrants? The digital immigrants had limited resources, and most of them are one task. They are single task person, and they are adapter of technology, but they are more comfortable or compatible in the traditional approach. While the digital natives, they are task oriented. They rapidly switch tasks, and then they are adaptive to technology, and they explore, experiment technology, both hardware and software, without any inhibition or fear. They are adept in technology. They have deeper understanding of technology. They could easily adapt. They could easily adjust with any gadget that you give them. They are multimedia oriented. This will lead us into this one, the 9 elements of the digital citizenship. This is actually the heart of my talk today. According to Mike Ribble, there are 9 elements of digital citizenship. Mike Ribble is an American educator who, in collaboration with his mentor, Dr. Gerald Braley, has written on the topic digital citizenship. He defines digital citizenship as an understanding of human, cultural, and societal issues related to technology and practice legal and ethical behavior. Let's discuss each of these 9 elements briefly. To start with, let's have digital literacy. Digital literacy means having the skills you need to live, learn, and work in a society where communication and access to information is expanding through digital technologies like internet platforms, social media, and mobile devices. Digital literacy is an element that we need to strengthen among our learners. We need to teach them to differentiate between the real and fake content. They need to learn which content is good for them and what they should avoid. We should also teach our learners to detect credible information and how to find reliable and trustworthy source of information. We need to teach them to verify, analyze, compare the information gathered online before jumping into any conclusion. Okay, next is digital security. This is a collective term that describes the resources employed to protect our online identity, data, and other assets. These tools include the web services, antivirus software, smartphone SIM cards, biometrics, and secured personal devices. This is very important. Never give out personal information, including phone numbers and addresses, on social media. Make sure to protect yourself from danger by keeping your password and not sharing it to others. Your password must be easy to remember but hard to guess. Keep that in mind. Teach the learners to be aware of potential malware attacks. We should explain to them how to prevent this from happening. Learners must be taught to protect themselves and others from potential harm. They need to be aware of any possible danger. If there is any possible danger, then they need to ask for help if needed. Then next, after digital security, we have digital communication. Since the pandemic hit the world, technology became the backbone of education. Technology helps a lot in the sustainability of education, not only in the field of education actually, but most in industries in the world. With the help of technology, we could easily get in touch with both our learners and their parents through text messages, phone calls, and chat messages, or even video calling. The online communication contributed a lot in the delivery of the quality education despite pandemic. As teachers, keep in mind, think first before you post anything online. If possible, read over again before sending. Or if you are mad or if you're not in a good mood, don't call or text your students your parents, or anybody. This is to protect your identity as a teacher. Next is we have digital commerce. This refers to online transactions that involve money and currency, such as buying and selling. Digital commerce becomes necessary part of our everyday life since pandemic hit. It becomes useful on the different transactions that we need to do, such as paying bills online, shopping online, buying online groceries, and alike. Understanding e-commerce work is a must for learners, especially those who are in the higher grade level. Let us teach our learners safety issues related to money in the digital world. Self-discipline must be enforced. Teach the learners to avoid impulse buying. Tell them to buy only the things that they need. Of course, we should practice this ourselves, we as teachers. Digital commerce also refers on how we deal with others in a safe and meaningful approach. As the saying goes, treat others as you want to be treated. And this will lead us into digital law. It refers to responsibility to follow legal guidelines, policy, and rules. As digital citizens, we need to know the law and how it applies in particular. This deals with the legal rights and restrictions governing technological use. Here in the Philippines, we have RA 8293 that is about copyright law. Violation of digital law includes illegal file sharing sites, pirating software, creating viruses, hacking into system or networks, stealing someone's identity, and copyright infringement. With this, you can pay heavy fine. You can pay a heavy fine, or you can even go to jail. We teachers should teach our learners not to steal ideas and other materials such as vlogs, video, online pictures, and alike. Teach them to be extremely cautious about plagiarism. Teach the habit of attributing every source, no matter how big or how small. And we should also keep in mind that plagiarism is also a form of stealing. Inculcate this in the mind of your students. It involves stealing the words or the ideas of another person without attribution or acknowledgement. Always give credit to people, to other person's work or idea. Everyone has the right to receive credit if someone else uses information that they have posted online. Better if we don't just copy from anyone's work, instead do or create something better. And also there are some content creators who choose to make their work available for reuse with certain requirements. For more about that, you may read all about Creative Commons license. Next, we have here digital etiquette. It requires critical thinking skills. This is an understanding of the essential standards or behavior expected in online environment and knowledge of the common social issues generated by digital technologies. The online environment should be a safe space for everyone, especially for our learners. Everyone needs to feel secure and protected. Education is the heart of the human society. We as teachers need to teach our learners the use of technology in a responsible manner. Anything we post online is permanent. It becomes part of our digital footprints. It is something that can follow us for the rest of our lives. Even when you have already deleted it, Google has its way of tracing it back to you. Once posted online, example, a video or a picture or even just a comment, it is no longer under your control since it creates its permanent digital record. Therefore, as much as possible, share positive image and example. Avoid posting negative or hurtful comments or ideas. Always be nice and encourage our learners to be nice to others too. Be vigilant and discreet with what you post online. You must or you should leave a positive digital footprint. Learners need to understand that online attitude is reflected in the real world and vice versa. Teach our learners to respond positively to online content as they do in real life. Next, we have here digital access. Learners with computer access or with internet and technology, as well as learners who can't afford a computer, smartphone, and internet access should have equal access to education. As teachers, we need to provide suitable alternatives for each learner's needs so that each will receive equal opportunities for learning. We must ensure that all learners could access our materials or resources whenever they need it. The coronavirus crisis has shown the effect of digital divide in the education. Both teachers and students put up the loop because of the lack of sufficient technology and digital skills. How does digital divide affect students' learning studies? Well, some children have no access to computer at home, or others share one computer with others in the household, limiting the amount of time they spend on it. Digital divide also refers to a lack or poor internet connection. This makes it longer for kids to complete a task or homework. As teachers, we need to understand this. Give ample time for learners who are in unfortunate condition or situation. Be patient enough. Understand what our students are going through nowadays. Minimizing the digital divide is actually one of the emphasis of the UNICEF nowadays. We could only hope that the digital divide will be minimized, if not totally abolished, as of this time. Next to our is we have the digital rights and responsibilities. Rights and freedom are also observed in the digital or online world. Let us teach our learners to be accountable for their action and refrain from tolerating misconduct in the virtual environment. Part of being responsible digital citizen is being respectful. The golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated, applies both to online friendship and communication as it does with a face-to-face interaction. Another thing about digital rights and responsibilities, according to Ribble and Braille, is that digital rights and responsibilities are the privileges and freedom that are provided to users of technology and the expectations of behavior that come with them. Well, next is about digital wellness. This is the nine. This is the last in the nine elements of digital citizenship. Digital wellness refers to safe and healthy digital environment. As we use different learning platforms, let us ensure that all learners are free from harassment and bullying while they log online. Let us be aware that using online resources is good and helpful, but let us also acknowledge the fact that there are dangers that reside with the benefit of using technology and online resources. Let us teach our learners to be cautious on this matter. Let us teach our learners, let us explain to our learners, that if something does not make them comfortable online, or they should inform the teachers or their parents immediately. Another thing that I would like to reiterate regarding digital wellness is we must keep our physical body healthy. Keep in mind that we are not computers, we are human beings and we need to rest. And don't forget to eat and do the hygiene. Take time to rest, especially when you have been using computer or any gadget for a long period of time. Many of us tend to forget the proper time for eating, And we must refrain from doing this. Remember, health is wealth too. Digital footprints can also be associated with digital wellness. I think I have already mentioned about digital footprints a while ago. These are the 9 elements of the digital citizenship. What is the importance of digital citizenship? Well, learning, collaboration, and discovering. In this digital world, let us learn from each other. Let us collaborate among each other, and then let us discover together. Let us help one another to learn more about the use of technology. Let us work together to contribute in making this digital era of education easier for our learners and for our fellow teachers. As much as possible, let us contribute appropriate content that will create positive experience for our learners. Let us promote cooperative and interdependent relationship. Let us discover together as we collaborate in working hand in hand with one another in providing safe online space for our learners and for the generation to come. Times have changed. Learners are now able to gather information or learning outside the classroom walls. They can now do their own research about certain topic. They can create presentation, video, and other projects which display their creativity and resourcefulness. They can chat or communicate with classmates and other people at their convenient time as needed. With the expansion of technology and technological advances comes great responsibilities. Learning has no boundaries for digital learners who are intuitive and curious. This is the very reason why they need to be taught with good digital citizenship. Let us use technological advances that are at hand, but don't forget to respect others and give high value of oneself. The world we are living is not separated from our digital world. The digital world and the real world are not separate entities. As teachers, we should promote and model good digital citizenship. How do we do this? Respect, educate, and protect. Appropriate and responsible use of technology among learners is necessary. These are the three pillars. These three pillars were developed by Mike Rebel to teach digital users how to responsibly use technology to become a digital citizen. That is respect, educate, and protect. These are the stronghold of good digital citizenship. More than the competencies that we are teaching our learners, let us teach them good digital citizenship. This is a vital concept that needs to be instilled among learners. Treat others with respect and empathy. These are the key elements of digital citizenship. The online environment or the digital world should be a safe space for everyone, especially for our learners. Let us collaborate in making this space secure and protected for the future generation. Let us educate our children about good digital citizenship. Let us teach them to use technology in responsible manner. Digital technology was invented by the digital immigrants. Did you know that? But the digital natives inherited the technology, then utilized it far beyond the control of the digital immigrants. We teachers are responsible in educating them to use it for the betterment of the global society. With that, I would like to thank all of you for spending your time with me today. Here are some of my references. Let me show you. Okay, thank you so much for that. Uh, I hope that you have learned something from me. Back to you, Sir Gapor.
All right. Thank you so much, Mom Mary Beth R. De La Cruz, for providing us an opportunity to deepen our understanding on digital citizenship. All right. And also, particularly on your discussion on the difference between digital immigrants and
Yes,
digital natives. All right. This simply shows that we, like me, including me, who weren't raised in a digital environment, I think we have to find ways to adapt to this digital age. Otherwise,
yes,
the burning question here would be, how can these two groups work together? I mean, how can digital immigrants teach digital natives and vice versa? Because there'll be some, there'll be some time that digital natives are more knowledgeable than the digital immigrants who happen to be our teacher nowadays. All right.
yes,
And and also thank you for pointing out the issue about digital wellness, because a lack of attention to digital wellness can actually lead to tech addiction, which is associated with higher stress levels and anxiety. And I think it would be ideal. It would be a mandate, should I say, among our teachers to guide our children along the way on their digital well-being. That way, they can avoid these risks and enjoy better mental and physical health outcomes. Right?
yes, that's correct, sir.
Yes. So we truly appreciate great lecturers like you, Ma'am Maribeth. All right. We once again thank you for such a commendable job, and of course, we look forward to having you again in our next series as again speaker. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Again, thank you, Mama Rebeth de la Cruz. All
Thank you
right.
so much to everyone.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Just a quick reminder, guys, if you have any questions to Mom de la Cruz, just send it in the comment section down below, and we will bring that up during the question and answer portion after the presentation. All right. So, moving right along with our second or last but not the least speaker for tonight. All right. He's also an English teacher and a school coordinator. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, here to share his take on the topic differentiated instruction. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Sir Ricky C. Montano on the show. All right. Is Sir Montano ready for his presentation? All right. Okay, let's call our second speaker for tonight's webinar, Sir Ricky Montano, and he will be shedding light on the topic differentiated instruction. All right. All right. So while we are waiting for our second speaker for tonight, again, I'd like to remind our live audience, if you do have these questions to our first speaker, Ma'am Maribeth de la Cruz, all you have to do is you simply type in the chat box below. And after our online quiz game competition, and then we'll give time to answer your questions for tonight. All right. And also reminding everyone for the conduct of our online quiz game competition also happening tonight after the presentation of our second speaker. All right. And we'll be giving away a certificate of recognition for those top 10 players who will make it. All right, during the online quiz game competition. So we are still waiting for our second speaker for tonight.
I think, sir, we're having some
Technical
technical problem.
problems.
Yeah, right now. Sir Ricky's at the backstage. Just give him, just give
Yes,
Sir Kamrul a few minutes so that he could add him.
yes, precisely. So we have to give a minute or two to our
Yeah.
second speaker because for sure he is experiencing a bad connection, which is, uh, a thing that is out of our hand. All right.
Yes.
Something that is out of our control. I hope our internet connection tonight uh, would be, friendly.
And also, I think we don't have the FB Live, if I'm not mistaken. I can't find the FB Live, but we have the YouTube. We're on the
I
YouTube
see.
right now.
But on
I
Facebook
just don't know with
platform,
the other. I just don't know with the other groups. We have different groups in FB. We have many groups in FB, but the one I'm using, we don't have the live there right now. But we're live on the YouTube right now.
yes. But I think we don't have live show this time at on our Facebook account, Facebook
Yeah,
page. I mean,
it's a technical issue also.
okay. So please bear with us, guys. That's a
Just
purely technical issue. Okay, as I was saying earlier, that's really out of our hands. All right. So I think
okay.
Sir Ricky, excuse me, Montano
Cirque is just
is.
around, but Sir Camrul could not add him right now. Okay,
I
I think
see. I
he's
think.
there.
I
Okay,
think
there you go.
he's coming in. All right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, help me welcome our second but not the least speaker for tonight's webinar, Sir Ricky C. Montano, also from the Philippines.
All right, thank you, sir. Finally, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Good
Yes.
day. And yes, I'm glad. And this is my second time to be with you. I will do my best to share my knowledge.
Yes. It's a pleasure. All right. So, take it away.
All right. Okay. So for today's topic, I will be discussing with you regarding about the differentiated instruction. Well, anyway, I guess despite of all the circumstances that we have experienced during this pandemic, it is very good enough to highlight the effort of us
Yes.
educator teachers amidst the pandemic that we still struggle, okay, for us to survive the daily life that we
Yes.
have in order for us to teach, to give justice to our profession. So
Yes.
um it's very important to highlight our efforts. And with this, my topic for today is to about the differentiated instructions. It's very important nowadays that we know how to differentiate instructions despite the digitized community or society that we have now.
All right.
Okay, so to start with, let me share my screen.
Sure. The virtual floors is now yours, Sir Ricky.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, is it visible already? Hi, sir. Is it visible already?
Yes, it's already visible. We're now seeing clearly.
Yes. Okay, good. All right, so okay, so my topic for this session is all about assessing learners through differentiated instructions. I guess I have, as what I have said earlier, in this pandemic, it is very important for us teachers to identify or to know how are we going to assess our learners. So we can only assess them through differentiated instructions. And also through differentiated instructions, we see that there is a greater opportunity for us to explore and for also to our students to learn more. So what is the differentiated instruction? Now let me show you the next slide. I know that you know this already, so but then I just want to know what do you know already about this topic and what do you want to know? Let me see from our um comment section, or should I say a message section. Can you please comment down what you want, what do you already know about differentiated instruction, and also what you want to know about this topic. Let me see. All right, in a minute, so I'll just have to read. Okay, so okay, so well, anyway, I know that you know already this topic, and I know also that as a teacher, there is no limit when it comes to learning new things. Okay, when it comes to learning new ideas. So that would be probably the things that you want to know this in this session about differentiated instruction. Now, without any further ado, let's start the objectives. So for today's session, first I'm going to explain the what and why of differentiated instruction. And also, we're going to relate the role of us teachers in differentiated instruction. And also, we're going to identify elements in learning and teaching process that can be differentiated. So basically, this in these three objectives, our session will be evolving within these three objectives. All right, so let's get the ball rolling. So again, as you can see on your screen, I have brought today some of my students inside of my class and I want you to meet them. Are you excited? Okay, so let's start with my first student. Now, he is Hero, as you can see. Hero works in systematic, organized way, even with complex concepts, and he usually gets ahead of the rest. And however, he is easily distracted when it is noisy and when the surrounding is disorderly. Again, that is Hero. My next student is Marco. Now, please meet Marco. He usually listens to music, and when not involved in school tasks, he struggles in figures but couldn't easily compose verses and oftentimes puts rhythm on it. Again, everyone, that is Marco, my second student. All right, so my third student for this engagement is Gina. Now, look at Gina. She struggles in reading, especially when long texts are presented. However, she tries to read when stories are illustrated. She prefers to draw her ideas rather than write them down. Again, everyone, this is Gina. Please meet Gina. All right. My next student is Lina. Now, Lina seldom participates in recitation, but when video clips are being presented in the class, she becomes animated and involved. Now, that is Lina. All right, so among the students that I have today, did you have, let us reflect on these questions. Did you ever have learners like them? Did you find it difficult to manage their learning? Why? Now, what were some ways that you have done to respond to these learners? I guess these questions are very familiar for us teachers because I believe that as a teachers, when we are in school or at school, our main goal is to convert every student as a learner who could write, a learner who can read and understand. So Basically, I know that these questions are really familiar to us. But one thing, if you have those kind of students, what have you done to respond to these learners? A very important questions, significant questions to ponder on. Okay, so that's where the differentiated instructions comes in. So let us first define what is differentiated instruction. Now, differentiated instructions, or simply differentiation, is a framework of philosophy for effective teaching that involves providing all students within their diverse classrooms a range of different avenues for understanding new information, now often in the same classroom, in terms of acquiring content, processing, constructing or making sense of ideas, and developing teaching materials and assessment measures so that all students within a classroom can learn effectively, take note, can learn effectively regardless of differences in ability. So, moreover, in this definition, we could evenly say that a differentiated instruction is somewhat like all in one instructions, regardless of the differences of the students that we have inside the classroom. We need to make them make them feel that they fit whenever we are inside of the classroom. So that is differentiated instruction. Another definition is differentiated instruction is the process of ensuring what a student learns, how he or she learns it, and how the student demonstrates what or she has learned is a match for that student's readiness level, interest, and preferred mode of learning. Now, this definition is based on Tomlinson as cited in Ellis Gabel, Gregg, and Ruck of 2008. So, in this definition, it is very evident also that in the differentiated instructions, our primary focus is ensuring that what a student learns and how does the student learn from it. And also, we should be able to ensure also that it is not just they learn and how they learn, but they can also demonstrate what they learn. And that is based on the definition of Tomlinson. Okay, next definition is differentiating instruction means the shaking up. Now, what goes on in that classroom so that students have multiple options for taking informations, making sense of ideas, and expressing what they learn. Now, my dear fellow educators and participants of this engagement, I would just like to make an emphasis on the word shaking up. Okay, that is differentiated instruction. Why there is a shaking up part? Because when you do the differentiated instructions, you are no longer staying in the traditional teaching, in the traditional classroom. You are converting the classroom into more participative classroom wherein all the students should be able to participate because your instructions are able to feed them of what they need. So that is what we mean by shaking. It's not the typical classroom at all. Okay, so that will gonna be happen if you will be applying differentiated instructions in your classroom, especially in the blended modalities that we have right now. So we have the online classrooms and we also have the modular type. Okay, all right. So next question is maybe you're going to ask me like why do we need to apply, all right, why do we need to adopt differentiated instructions? Well, I will give you some legal basis. Okay, there are some legal basis about that. Okay, the first one here in the Philippines, we have also the education for all. I know you are all familiar with this one. When we say education for all, it is a law that states that everyone should have the right access to right and equal access to education. So when you do differentiate instructions, you are giving them freedom to learn. Next is the sustainable development goal of quality education. This is how we are able to sustain to promote quality educations. So when you are applying differentiated instructions in your class, regardless if it's online or offline or modular, now you are providing quality education for that. Why? Because you promote inclusivity in learning regardless of the differences of your students. Okay, so next is the Republic Act for the Philippines 10533. This is commonly known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. Of course, we also have Republic Act 9155, or the Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001. All right. And we also have the legal basis, Deped Order number 72, series of 2009. And this is all about inclusive education. Now, when we say inclusive education, like they are no longer special, they don't belong in a special setup. They are not isolated cases. These students are no longer isolated cases, but they belong in a formal setup because nowadays the Department of Educations are trying to promote inclusive educations where everyone can learn harmoniously. And that can be achieved through the differentiated instructions. Okay. Next is, according to some research, let's find out what are the meanings of differentiated instructions. Now, according to some research, strategies used to differentiate instructional and assessment tasks for English language learners, gifted students, and struggling students were also effective for other students in the classroom. Now, as you can see in this definition, this is based from McQuarrie and McRae and Stack Cutler of 2008. So, according to this definition, regardless if the students or if the students are gifted or if the students are struggling, they learn. Okay, it is also effective for other students in the classroom. So it means to say that regardless of their level of learning or level of their progress when it comes to learning certain things, now when you apply differentiated instruction, you don't consider them as difference from one another, but you give equal instructions for them through differentiation. All right, so next is, according to some research again, students with learning disabilities received more benefits from differentiated instructions than their grade level peers. So that is based again to the authors that I have mentioned a while ago. Why? Because maybe because um when you have this as a teacher, okay, as a teacher, when you have this kind of students with special needs, maybe probably you will be thinking of some ways that they will not be discouraged to learn, and they will not be somewhat like feel discriminated inside your class. So what are you going to do right now is to make an instruction to promote collaborative learning through differentiated instructions, like everyone should be treated equally. Okay. Next is, according to some research also, in one study, the reading skills of elementary and middle school students who participated in reading program that incorporated differentiated instructions improved compared to the reading skills of students who did receive the program. So, of course, that is based on Baumgartner, Lipusky, and Rush of 2003. Of course, we cannot deny the fact, given this different citations from the different related articles or study, that differentiated instructions are really effective applying in reading or in different related activities inside the classroom. All right, so we are talking about the differentiated instructions. Okay, so these differentiated instructions could be anchored to the following theories that you can see on your screen. So, of course, the Piaget's constructivist theory. I know that you are all familiar with this one, and also you have the Vygotsky zone of proximal development, and also you have the Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. Of course, I'd like to highlight with the most controversial theory, which is the Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which is somewhat like related to I mean very useful also to differentiate instructions. Why? Because in Gardner's theory, it was stated that students learn in different learning styles. Okay, so we have that students who can learn in music easily, student who can learn by doing something, student who can learn easily in mathematics, in poems, or etc., based on their multiple intelligences. And that is somewhat like very controversial because of the different multiple intelligences of the different students. As a teacher, also, we don't have that. Let's admit that as a teacher we don't have that capacity. Okay, we don't have that capacity to tell whether the students is mathematically inclined, musically inclined, or when it comes to their multiple intelligences. And of course, I know that you would also agree with me that only the experts like the psychologist or doctor or physician can only tell whether what is the multiple intelligences of that student or our students. Okay. All right. So now these are the principles. Next slide. These are the principles that govern the effective differentiation, and this is based on the Tomlinson and Allen of 2000. Now, a differentiated classroom is flexible. It is really true because when you do or when you apply differentiated instruction in your class, okay, you do not stay on a particular topic. Okay. Instead, you go with the different tentacles of your topic, your different concepts of your topic, wherein you are trying to feed now the need of your students. So, say for example, if you have students who are very good in music, say for example, you can have them like activity which is more into music, and say for example, you have that students who are very good in composing poem, and you can somewhat like give them activities like composing poems. And also if you have those students who are very good in mathematics, I think you can also um, give that activities that will somewhat like related to numeracy. But of course, please take note of this. Please do not sacrifice the content of your lesson. Focus on the content. We may differentiate the instruction. Okay, please do not be confused about that. We shall differentiate the instructions, but never the content. The content should be the same. The content of the topic should be the same. It is only the instruction must be differentiated. Okay. Next, all right. So differentiation of instruction stems from effective and ongoing assessment of learners' needs. Of course, because of these differentiated instructions, we are able to cater the needs of our learners, not just an isolated case, but then we are able to penetrate everyone's needs inside the class. Next, flexible grouping helps ensure student access to a wide variety of learning opportunities and working arrangements. Of course, groupings. Now you maybe you try to ask me like, how about if we do online? How are we going to group our students? I guess it's not a problem. Okay, you can have like the different you could use the different learning platform online such as Zoom um and Zoom and Google Meet. And all of that, they have breakout session, and you can group your students according to that one. Okay, so next is all students consistently work with respectful activities and learning arrangements. Of course, when you do the differentiation in your class, now you make the instructions more manageable. You make the rules more manageable because of that. So student will now do their task smoothly because they know what to do and they know what are the rules. Now, next is students and teachers are collaborators of learners. Of course, because in differentiated instructions, it is not as teachers alone. Okay, so we need to bear on that in differentiated instructions, it's not just as teachers but also the students. We are not the actor of the learning process, but it's the student. It's a student centered. Okay, so we should go out from the um, traditional classroom. Okay, next slide is what is the role of teachers in differentiated instructions? This is very important as teachers. No, teachers must move away from the notion, just like what I have said a while ago. Teachers must move away from the notions that they dispense informations and knowledge, but move towards seeing themselves as organizers or learning of learning opportunities. So in the differentiated instructions, it is not just the teacher at the middle of the learning process wherein we used to feed our students with the different ideas. We used to be the one who used to say this, who used to do this, okay? That is on the traditional setup. But in the differentiated instructions, we should turn the table. Okay, let them speak, let them do. You give the instructions, you organize the learning opportunities for them. And that's it. That's a differentiated instructions. That is our first role as a teacher in differentiated instructions. We are just a facilitator, we are just an organizers of learning opportunities. Next is teachers must proactively plan and carry out varied approaches in order to create the best learning experience possible. Now, I try to think of this like if the students, if the students are not just techie. When you say techie, like the students are not fond of of joining, or you're not used to technology thing. Okay, so with the kind of modality that we have, which is online, so the teacher, what are you going to do now so that that student could be somewhat like you convince the student to join your class regularly online. So of course we must have that proactive plan, and we must also carry out that plan such as through varied approaches for that students to be convinced in joining the online class. And how are we going to do that? Of course, we should be able to make the learning experience the best as possible. And we can only do that if we will venture into differentiated instructions. In an online, we can use different platforms again. We can use pictures, we can use different sites, okay? I know that you know that already, like say for example, you have that quizzes, you have that um what do you call this, you have that quizzes, you have that what do you call this, the different online platforms, or the different um online assessment tool. So you can make use of them so that our teaching and learning process, even though in the absence of physical contact or physical appearance, okay, so we will be able to make the learning experience the best as possible. Right. Next is, okay, so of all the things that I have mentioned, we should always remember that differentiation does not suggest, okay, maybe you have this connotation like, oh, because I am going to do differentiated instruction, so I must be the one to do this and to do that. Okay, so differentiation does not suggest that a teacher can be all things to all individuals. It's not. It's not the typical setup. Like it's not the setup at all. So it does, all right, but however, mandate that a teacher create a reasonable range of approaches to learning much of the time so that most students find learning fit much of the time. So with this, we have to remember that we don't need to be like superwoman or superman that we can do everything. Okay. However, it is a demand from our job, right? When it comes to our profession, that we should do everything. But remember, let us have that variety of options for our students to learn so that the students would find learning experience, would learn much better, and would have that very meaningful learning experiences. And we can only do that through the differentiated instructions. All right, so next slides is about the evidence-based strategies for differentiated instructions. First, employ effective classroom management procedures. Of course, when you do differentiated instruction, you just don't um you just don't let the students do that. Okay, so of course you need to set classroom rules, classroom procedures, and how the activities shall be done. Okay, and next is use a variety of instructional approaches. Like you have, say for example, you have you let the other students recite a poem or poem. You let the other student sing a rhyme, or you let the other student draw a picture or paint a picture like that. So different approaches for one concept. Okay. Next is alter assignments to meet the needs of the students. Of course, you need to have that different assignments. Like if you give this assignment, say for example, assignment that they will do, then the other day, then you have to give another assignments also for them so that they will not feel bored whenever you give assignments to them. Next is assess students on ongoing basis to determine their readiness level. Of course, it is very important to assess our students. Then how are we going to assess them? Now, in a form, if you still remember, in the traditional, I mean, in the normal setup, we used to assess them through their readiness level through formative assessment. Okay. Now, use assessment result to adjust instructions as needed. Of course, whenever we make an instructions, we should also consider the result of our assessment, because in that way, that is our evidence based, so that we can make a validated, or we can make appropriate instructions for them. Okay. Next is um Okay. Next is provide a variety of options for how students can learn and demonstrate their knowledge. All right. So we, as a teacher, we should provide a variety of activities wherein activities that will offer wide range of knowledge for our students to learn. So example, if you could have, like, I don't know if you are familiar with this one, like the menu type. Okay, you can have, like, say for example, um one activity for your appetizer, one activity for your diner, one activity for your um first course, like, or the main course of your meal. So you could use that so that you could give variety of different activities for your students, and strive to make lessons engaging and meaningful. Of course, as a teacher, that is our task. We don't want to be that, when our students will be promoted the next year, we don't want to be the meat of their discussions to among their peers, like, the teacher is so boring, the teacher doesn't know how to teach the lesson, like that. So to avoid that, we should make the lessons more engaging and meaningful. Okay. So next is employ different grouping formats for instruction. Example, the whole class, small groups, independent instructions, and use flexible grouping. Of course, I think that the most given the restrictions of the IDAF, or the health protocols that being implemented in the different localities here in our countries and different countries as well. I think we can only divide groups from our class through online. the one that I have mentioned a while ago. I don't know if you used to. I mean, you have tried that one. You using the Google Meet and the Zoom. You can have the breakout through and breakout session wherein the students shall be grouped accordingly. So yes, that's one way of making groups. Or or if in the modular approach, or distance learning, I guess you can group students like they are neighbors, so you can group them, and you can have same activities, and have a group, one somewhat like one student that would lead the group. Okay, so that's one way of making grouping or grouping format nowadays. All right, so now let's define the traditional versus differentiated classroom. So, all right, so we have there traditional classroom and differentiated classroom. Now, in the traditional classroom, instructions is teacher centered. Now, in the differentiated classroom, instruction is student centered. All right, so that is somewhat like difference. Okay, I mean different. So, instruction is largely provided in a whole group setting in the traditional classroom, while in the differentiated classroom, different groupings formats are used for instructions. All right, so difference about among these two is that in the traditional classroom, there is a large group, whole group setting. Like in our classroom, we just let the whole class read the poem. Okay, but in the differentiated instruction, like maybe say for example, the first group shall read the first stanza, and then the second group will sing the second stanza, and then the third group will draw the idea on the third stanza, and so on and so forth. See, so you have just one lesson, but then you have differentiated instructions, and that's how you differentiate. Okay. Next is when teacher assigns students to work in groups, the groups are usually static based on achievement level. Now, in that differentiated instruction, teacher employ flexible groupings practices based on the students' learning needs and interests. Now, how are we going to as a teacher? How are we going to identify the needs of our students? Say, for example, in my case, during the normal setup, I used to ask a survey from some survey from my students, like who wants to sing, who wants to recite a poem, and that way you group them as one, and then so that when you give instructions that would fit on them. Okay, so in that way you are differentiated now. You are differentiating the instructions. Next is teachers target instructions at the level of the middle achievers in the traditional classroom. However, in the differentiated classroom, teacher assign challenging and engaging tasks to everyone in the class. So there is more opportunity for our students to learn and to excel in the differentiated classroom compared to the traditional classroom, wherein in the traditional classroom only those who can learn will be given or have that chance to excel. Okay, next, instructional tasks are aligned with grade level standard in the traditional classroom. Now, in the differentiated classroom, while aligning the grade level standards, instructional tasks are designed to address students' needs in differences. Now, static in the traditional classroom, the instructionals are static, while however in the differentiated classrooms, the instructional I mean the individual differences of the students are the basis of the instructions. Now, next, the teacher relies on a single textbook to present information in the traditional classroom. And in the differentiated classroom, the teacher uses a variety of materials to present informations. Now, however, in this case, in the differentiated instructions, the teacher is somewhat like do everything and have a research of his or her topic, so that by the time comes that he will be presenting that to his or her class, he will be able to have a wide ideas pertaining to the topic. Okay. Now, The teacher assesses the student's knowledge of a unit usually with a written test. However, in these differentiated instructions, teacher may give a written test at the end of a unit. He also provides students with several options to demonstrate their knowledge. That is why in differentiated classrooms, as a teacher, we don't only focus on a particular activity, right? As a teacher, so we have that different um evaluating tools such as rubrics, okay? And in the traditional classroom, teachers use summative assessment to assess the student knowledge. Now, in the differentiated classroom, in addition to summative, in the traditional classroom, the teachers use formative assessment to guide instructions. Now, in the traditional classroom, fair means that every student work on the same task. Now, in the differentiated classroom, when you say fair, it means that each student works a task which may be the same or different than their peers to meet his or her needs. Now, in the traditional classroom, success means making a good grade or mastering the material at all. Okay, so in the differentiated classroom, when you say success, it refers to an individual's or student's academic growth. So here, there is a large difference between the definition of fair and success. So basically, the traditional classroom will just know basic meaning of fair and success, but then in the differentiated classrooms, when you say fair, when you say success, it has something to do with the the holistic the holistic performance of the students. Okay. Now, next is instruction is provided one way in traditional classroom, but however, in the differentiated classroom, instruction is provided in a multiple ways. Of course, because you're going now to provide differentiated instruction, that is why it will become multiple. Okay. So I think I am almost done with my presentation. Now, how do teachers differentiate instructions? Very important. Now, how are we going to differentiate instructions? Of course, first, the first thing that we're going to do is to know our student. Remember, I have told you a while ago that I used to, to conduct a simple survey before the start of my first day in school. So, of course, in that survey, you're going to identify their readiness. Readiness of their school, the readiness, and also their interest, also, and also their learning profile. So this three idea should be asked to the students so that you will know your students well. Okay, so of course we can differentiate instructions to three elements. So we can differentiate through content, we can differentiate through the process of our instructions, and we can differentiate through the product, regardless of what the products that we are expecting from our students. Okay, so here are example on how can we differentiate instructional elements content. First, of course, you have I hope that you are familiar with this one. So you have the tiered content, variety of materials, presentation styles, scaffolding. Okay, I know that you are familiar with this. Learning contracts and compacting. So scaffolding, like you start from the very basic, and then as the activity prolong, like it becomes harder and harder. Okay, and differentiate instructional elements which through the product. So you have also the tiered products. You can use the tic-tac-toe if you're familiar with this one. And the learning menus, that the one that I have mentioned a while ago. So I guess you have to provide, say for example, you have to name that menus as student menus, okay? And you have the raft. Later we will have that example. Now, what about process. So you could also have the tiered activities, learning centers wherein you have to post during the normal setup. You have to post the different activities in the different learning areas. So you have the station 1, station 2, and station 3. So you also have interactive journals, you can make them, and graphic organizers are very useful, especially nowadays online. Jigsaw activities, manipulatives also are very important. All right, what are the ways to differentiate instructions? Example, So you have here the title of this activity is Imagine It. So this is for first grade. So this is an example of tiered lesson. So say for example um you have this generalization, the background, the large group. Okay, so you can divide the students into three. So you have the knowledge group or comprehension. On a grade level, you have the application and analysis. In the enrichment, you have synthesis and evaluation. So that simple tiered lesson, you can distribute this one to your students through group. So in that way, you are making differentiated instructions now. Of course, the tic-tac-toe. So you can make use of the dice, for example, or uh, it depends to you of whatever your instructions. But then, as you can see, you have different squares. So wherein the students can choose what what he or she likes to do. Oh, if he likes to draw a picture of a product or make a project plan, that's it. So that's a tic-tac-toe. By the way, that is also example of differentiating instructions. And also, this one also is something to do. Tic-tac-toe has something to do with the multiple intelligences. I guess but dear educators, following this activity, it is not a guarantee for us to say that the student is visual. The student, if the students choose the visual part, and he is a learner. If the student choose the verbal part, then he is a verbal learner. No, so this is just somewhat like a basis. What we cannot it is not right for us to jump into conclusion based on the options that the students choose or chooses. Okay, so because again, I would like to reiterate that only the experts who can tell that. Okay, next. All right, so you also have the interest-based assignment. So select a person in one of the folders and write compositions describing the persons as thoroughly. So if you have like say for example in a class you have 10 students, so most probably based on the folders that they'll be getting, you'll know what are their interests. So say for example if the students get the athlete, oh um this student likes athletes or sports, okay, authors, or these students likes to read books, like that. So that is based on their interest based. Okay, next is the rafts. So when we say rafts, it is the role, audience, format, topic, and s- um the strong verb. Okay, so role, who am I, is the author or this piece of writing. So you have that situation and then make the apply the refs. Okay, of course, it is very important also to give appropriate clear instructions in doing this one, because when you do this activity, brainstorming and planning are very essentials so that the student could successfully execute this activity. Example, so you have the role, the audience, the format, and the topic. So say for example, role is the comma. So the student should imagine he is a middle school student, and the job description and use in a sentence. The topic is all about use in a sentence. So that's a rough example. And of course, you also have the graphic organizers. So you have the timeline, circular story, compare and contrast, the Venn diagram, lesson draw, compare, share, retell, relate, reflect, flowchart, character map, storyboard, the the KWL, the one that I have shown you in the first slide, the PMI, and the timeline again. So that is all about graphic organizers. Of course, this is the one that I am using, the student survey. Of course, you can um somewhat like make an adjustment, or yeah, that is based that can fit to your students. So in that way you can somewhat like foresee what students you have in your class. Of course, the interest inventory is your favorite activity or subject in school. The questions like this are somewhat like very good for us teachers to know the interest of our students inside our class. The reading contract. So, of course, after reading how many books they want to read for this month, like that. And the homework or short contract example for that. Okay. So, how do teachers differentiate instructions? Evaluate and grade students' performance. So, how will the teacher fair evaluate students' performance and how will the teacher assign grades? So these are the evaluating performance. Of course, because we are talking about differentiated instructions, so we make use of the rubrics, the portfolios, and the self-assessment. So again, to sum up my discussion for this engagement, we discussed about differentiation. So it is a teacher's response to the learner's need. So it is shaped by mindset and guided by general principles of differentiation, such as respectful task, quality curriculum, flexible grouping, continual assessment, and building community. Now, how can teachers differentiate it through? How can teachers differentiate instructions? Now, teachers can differentiate through content, process, product, and effect or environment. Now, according to students, teachers also can differentiate the readiness of the students, interest, consider also the interest, and the learning profile. Now, through a variety of instructional strategies such as the graphic organizers, scaffolding, reading, cubing, think, tic-tac-toe, learning contracts, and etc. Now, we can make use of them in the differentiated instructions. And with that, I would like to say thank you so much. And may you all learn from our discussion today. Thank you.
All right, there you go. We cannot thank you enough, Sir Ricky Montano, for your very interesting and very informative lecture. All right. We really love every single second of it. I mean, your presentation will actually pave way for deepening our teachers' knowledge and skills in using what you call differentiated instruction, because this would actually allow the teacher to give students the support they need instead of lumping them together in one big group. All right. And believing in the maxim one size does not fit all, I think it would be a great idea for our teachers to really adopt and come up with an individualized learning plan for each student to effect learning, taking into consideration the multiple intelligences that they have and also the individual learning styles of each of our students. All right. So we thank you again, Sir Ricky Montano, for that very informative talk. And we are hoping to have you again in our next series. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Okay, so before we proceed with our online quiz game competition, let's give a huge shout out first to Che Romano for being spotted, for your continued support to IGP through your regular attendance in most of our webinar series conducted. And so for that reason, IGP is pleased to award you its lifetime membership certificate for being a loyal follower of IGP. Congratulations. All right. An exciting and fun-filled online quiz game competition is up next. So brace yourself, guys. All right, so we now come to the online quiz game competition, and this is open for all our live audience tonight who wish to join. All right, so as of now, we still have a few participants coming in. All right, guys, so I think we're going to give you a minute or two to get settled, and then we'll get underway. All right, so we are now showing you the code for tonight's online quiz game competition. It's IGP quiz, and you are also seeing on the screen the QR code for fast access. You simply scan the code on the screen for you to get access. All right, and once you've done that successfully, your name will appear now on the screen. And shout out to our live audience who just joining in, like Dennis James. Shout out also to Carmela Hine, Julie Alos, Jenaline Resurrection, Marivek Claveselia, Asho Kumar Adhikari, Christina Bisquera, all right, Romil Jansi Aquino, Helbert Legaspi, Corazon Tamio, Jeffrey A. Salim, Alex Javier Alvarez, Rosalinda, Shirley Osio, who else? All right, so I think we're about to start. First question, guys. Blank is an unspoken curriculum. Is it digital citizenship or hidden curriculum? All right, all right. So time is up, and Slido is now going to process your, I mean, yes, the result of your answer. So the correct answer is hidden curriculum. That's an unspoken curriculum. Congratulations. But I think majority of you guys got the correct answer. All right. Romel Jansi Aquino is our top scorer for this moment. All right. Followed by Dennis Gento Cerso, Ana Marie Joy Mercado, Lourdes Montuya, and Jenaline Velia Resurrection. All right, so let's proceed with our second question for tonight's online quiz game competition. Blank refers to safe and healthy digital environment. Is it digital wellness or digital access? Time is up, guys. All right, majority of our participants said digital wellness. All right, congratulations. You got it right, guys. Okay, now let's turn to our dashboard to see who's on our. All right, this time is Dennis Gento Cerso with 8 seconds spent and submitting his answer. Okay, that makes him on the top of our list. So make sure you have to be very fast in submitting your answer. All right, that would be one of the bases apart from your score for the Slido to rank to give you a rank. All right, for the third question, blank can be defined as the norms of appropriate, responsible behavior in relation to technology use and digital access. Is it digital citizenship or hidden curriculum? Majority of you guys said digital citizenship, and let's find out which one is the correct answer. All right, congratulations. 97% of our participants got the correct answer. All right, that's digital citizenship. Dennis Gento Cerso is still our top scorer. All right, he got perfect score with 10 seconds uh, used or consumed in submitting his answer to us. All right, all right, here we go. Number 4 question. This involves using digital technologies effectively and not misusing them to take advantage of others. Is it digital responsibilities or digital natives? Which do you think is the appropriate answer? Slido, please tell us the correct answer. It's digital responsibilities. All right. And congratulations. Majority of you got the correct answer. All right. This time is Ana Marie A. Mercado who is our top scorer for this moment. And Dennis Ginto Cerso, I think, went down 1 to 3 notches from top one. All right. From being the top one earlier. All right. So you have a tie score. However, you may differ in how fast you submit your answer. All right. So, number five question: who are the digital natives? Is it new generation of young people born into the digital world, or aged, or they are the people who have had to adapt to the new language of technology? Time is up, and Slido, please reveal the correct answer. It's option number one. That's new generation of young people born into the digital era. All right. Okay, that's a good news because 70% majority of you got the correct answer. This time it's Jeneline V Resurrection who's on the top of our list this time, followed by Alex Javier Alvarez, then Romel Jan Aquino, Nico Den Esmero, and Lamberto Espilatan Jr. All right. Number six, excuse me, question: who are the digital immigrants? Is it new generation of young people born into the digital age, or those who learned the use of computers and adapted the use of technology? Majority of you guys said all right, and that's the correct answer. Congratulations. You got it. Those who learned the use of computers and adapted the use of technology are considered the digital immigrants. All right. All right. So Alex Javier Alvarez this time is our top scorer. All right. Looking at the screen, you will notice that you have a tie score. However, oh come on, Alex Javier. All right, here we go. Let's go back to that later on. Number seven question: a person who started using digital technology, computers, or the internet during their adult life but did not grow up using them are called what? Is it digital immigrants or digital natives? The correct answer is digital immigrants or immigrants. Congratulations, but majority of you guys were able to get the correct answer. All right, that's digital immigrants. Alex Javier Alvarez was able to maintain his status being the top one for this round. All right, with 31 seconds. Number eight question: blank is having the skills you need to live, learn, and work in a society where communication and access to information is expanding through digital technologies like internet. Is that digital literacy or digital security? Slido, please tell us which one is the correct option. All right. All right. Are we freezing? Are we good this time? Digital literacy is the correct answer. Majority of our participants got the correct answer. Alex Javier Alvarez still our top scorer for this round with 35 seconds spent in submitting his answer. Okay, second to the last question. Blank is the collective term that describes the resources employed to protect your online identity, data, and other assets. It's that, or it's that digital literacy or digital security. 100% said digital security, and that's the correct answer. Congratulations. All right. All right. Here we go. Alex Javier Alvarez still on the top of our, still on the top of our list. All right, followed by Romel Jancy Aquino, Nico Dennis Miro, Lamberto Espilatan Jr., and Ana Marie Joy A. Mercado. All right, so we have one last question left. Here we go. Blank deals with the legal rights and restrictions governing technological use. Is it digital law or digital footprints? Here we go. Time is up, and Slido is now going to reveal the correct answer. It's digital law. All right. Digital law deals with the legal rights and restrictions governing technological use. And we're done with the 10 questions, and let's go back to our dashboard. Congratulations to Romel Jancy Aquino for being our winner for tonight's online quiz game competition. All right. Don't you worry because we'll be awarding 9 more certificates. That's a total of 10. Okay, because we'll be awarding 10 lucky winners for tonight. All right, our top one, our winner for tonight is Romel Jancy Aquino. Big shout out to you, guy. Followed by Alex Javier Alvarez. Third is Neko Dennis Miro. Fourth, Lamberto is Pilatan Jr. And on the fifth spot, we have Ana Marie Joy A. Mercado. On the sixth spot, we have Archie Rec B. Dumalaon. Eliza Marie A. Azotes on the seventh spot. Jameline V. Rivera on the eighth spot. And on the ninth spot, we have Jeneline V. Resurrection. And the last but not the least is Dr. Rajesh Sudhakar Wakchuari. I hope I pronounce it well. And congratulations, everyone, for your active participation. We do really appreciate your participation and your effort, okay, in joining for tonight's online quiz game competition. All right. So, question and answer portion is up next. And so, please prepare your questions and have it type on the comment section down below. All right. All right, so at this juncture, your questions will now be entertained by our speakers for tonight. So kindly prepare your question, guys. Have it type on the comment section down below, so we could bring that up on our screen, and that way our speaker could actually respond and provide their answer to your question for tonight. All right, here we go. So we have the first question from Lamberto Pilatan. And I think this is going out to Sir Ricky. All right. Lamberto Pilatan is asking the three most
Mm.
important roles of a teacher in differentiated instruction.
Okay. All right. So okay. So actually, I think all of the roles, but teachers are very important in differentiated instruction. But if I were to choose the top three, it will be like first, of course, as a teacher in the differentiated instructions, you need to be more innovative compared to the traditional way. Innovative in such a way you're going to find and think and experiment different strategies and approaches that would fit to the different needs of your students. So in that way, it would be very easy for you to differentiate the instructions that would be that would fit to your class. That is one. And second is, of course, you need to facilitate your class. You are a facilitator, and not you are the actor of the class, but you will act as a facilitator. When we say facilitator, it'll just more of giving instructions to your students, more of giving rules, more of of seeing what they are doing. So you are not the center of the teaching and learning process, but moreover you're just the facilitator, facilitating of
Yes.
learners. And the third one is that of course you must be very good say for example you must be very good in um a very good critic, because after the activities there should be a feedbacking mechanism wherein you
Yes.
need to raise your feedback towards the output and performance of the students. In that way your students also would learn what are the area, or what are the areas that they need to improve, and what are the area that they excel the most. So I think that's the most top three rules in the differentiated instructions as a teachers.
Yes, very insightful answer. Thank you, Sir Ricky. To sum it up, the three most important role of a teacher nowadays are: number one is innovator, facilitator, and evaluator, to assess the
Mm-hmm.
performance of the students and to provide immediate feedback, whether they're on the right track or uh, what have you.
They
All
need it.
right.
They mhm.
Yes. All right. So we have another question this time from James family. Or the James family is asking, how can we be so sure that digital citizenship is effective to the differentiated instruction? I think this is also going on to Sir Ricky. And Mama Beth can
All
also
right.
give her insight after Sir Ricky.
How can we ensure that? What was the question again?
How can we make sure that digital citizenship is effective with what you are claiming as
Okay.
differentiated instruction?
All right. So of course, okay, because nowadays we're in, our learners are, they are considered as visual learners. Okay, say for example, they do not, if they see or if they saw a book, they'll just merely interpret the book by its cover and not just reading the book. Okay, so that's how I see the importance of differentiated instructions. We need to, despite that our learners are visual, despite that our learners are, they are digitized, I mean digital learners, we need to convince them to learn to learn in their environment without sacrificing the quality of educations. So say for example, we can differentiate different activities online as to to the needs of our students nowadays.
Yes.
Yes,
So
Mambe.
as a teacher, yes, as a teacher, so you have to assess first your student with regards to their readiness on that particular intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are talking about different differentiated instructions, and then we have to pave way for digital citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Mary Beth has more to say about this. How can these two things blend in one to make it more
Okay.
effective?
Yes. Actually, it's about, for me, it's about positive engagement in using the different learning platforms. We should teach our learners to communicate in a nice way with the others, with other learners, and also whenever they are given a task to do something, make sure our learner should be taught that it should be something that is positive, something that will be helpful not only for himself but also for others. That is good digital citizenship.
All right. Thank you, Mary Beth, for what is happening to me. Excuse me. For sharing your thought about that question. I have that answered the question, and we have another one here. Okay, from Archie 0306, and he's asking, uh, can differentiated instruction be applied in a modular setup? That I think this is a good question. Can differentiated instruction be applied in a modular modalities that we are actually making use of this time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's a very good question. Okay, actually, yes, because first, the instruction should come from the teacher. Okay, as a
All
teachers,
right.
we should be the one who will be making the instructions. So it's up to us. What, say, for example, that student, since we know that that student, a particular student, is a very good is a very good in drawing. So I guess your main one is to give somewhat like activities that would somewhat like entice his or her interest so that he will be able to understand the topic. So most probably, if that student is very good in drawing, so most probably we can invest into different activities that has something to do with the drawing, and of course without sacrificing the concept of our lesson as well. So in
Yes, sir.
I
Thank you.
guess yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for your answer, but I think it's easier said than done because this would require a lot of challenges on the part of the teacher. I mean, you have to be resourceful. You have to be creative in differentiating a lesson to a different student with different learning styles,
Yes,
and
sir.
so on and so forth. It's quite challenging, I think, on the part of the teacher.
Mhm.
All right. So I think we've got so many questions coming in. Okay. I can see it on the dashboard. All right. So let's wait for the second question to be posted on the screen. Shout out to Ma'am Vivian Fernandez, and she's asking how can we properly organize, okay, the differentiated instructions. I mean, how can we organize? How can we arrange it properly? What's the first thing to do? What's the second one?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. So I think mom is trying to refer here the process of differentiating the instructions. Of course,
Yeah.
the first thing that we're going to do as a teacher is that we really need to know our students, because in that way we can differentiate the instructions that we're going to do inside the classroom. Say for example, we could have a simple survey. That's what I am usually do during the normal setup. Well, I ask my students like, what is your favorite thing to do? Do you like to draw? Do you like to sing? And then put all the students or put students in one group with a common denominator or interest, so that when you differentiate your instructions, it will not be very difficult for you to do that. And you know what group is very good into this, what group is very good into this. So the making of the differentiated instructions for you will be more smoothly this time. So that's how you organize. And you make use of the different materials that I have discussed a while ago also. And that will help you a lot.
Yes, very insightful answer. And I think the other way of organizing the students is you have to base the delivery of your lesson based on the individual learning style. There are those students who are kinesthetic, all right, linguistic, something like that, and those students who are into mathematical intelligences, something sort of that. All right. So we've got more questions coming in. All right. Okay. So let's wait for that question to appear on the screen. Again from Lamberto Pilatan, and this one is going out to Ma'am Mary Beth. Among the 9 elements of digital citizenship, what are the things that we need to teach our students or learners that are mostly related to their lessons in school, and why?
Actually, all the 9 elements are, I think, are of equal importance. We should teach all of these to our learners because these are the different aspects of digital citizenship, and that is to make their engagement with the different learning materials and also with engagement with the technology holistic. So we need to teach them all the 9 elements all together.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, they are interrelated. So one is
Yeah.
useless without
Yes.
the other. All right. So they are equal importance. Very, very insightful answer. Thank you, Ma'am Mary Beth. All right. And we've got another question this time from Sir Romel John Aquino. And this is going out again to Sir Ricky. Okay. When we conduct differentiated instruction, does it mean that we also need to conduct different types of assessment to appropriately address the instruction and content? Very good question, I think.
All right. Actually, when we venture into differentiated instructions, that's very confusing thing. But I would like to reiterate again that when we do differentiated instructions, we just differentiate the instructions. When you say instructions, like the different activities, but we cannot sacrifice the assessment and the concept because assessment should jive on the concept and not on the differentiated instructions. And when
I
we say
see.
assessment, we can use different kinds of rubrics and evaluation tools for that. And we cannot change that. Okay, we cannot have different assessment. Okay,
Yes,
all students will be performing different activities, but they will have a common assessment for that because they have a common content for that specific activities
yes.
concept. I mean.
Okay, I see. So it would be illogical if you're having different assessment when in fact you're giving the same content to the students. All right. All right. Thank you for that, for your answer to that question. So we have here from Marife B. Dimbang. It says digital citizenship is really an integral part of students' learning experiences. What advice could you give to parents and learners who can't really afford a computer, a smartphone, and an internet?
Yes, that's very sad to say, but there are still parents who could not afford to buy a computer, a smartphone, or or have an internet connection at home. But because of the abrupt transition of education, not only here in the Philippines, but I think all over the world, I think having those gadgets is already a basic need for education. So we have to provide here in Mandaluyong. I live in Mandaluyong. The local government unit provided tablet for all the learners in public schools. So all our learners they have their own tablet. we are very fortunate for that. But I think the best thing for those parents who could not afford is to try to seek the help of their local government unit too, the LGUs or some. They should look for sponsors if they can't really afford to, because there are lots of sponsors. There are a lot of people who are willing to help those kids to go back to school and to provide them with a laptop or with internet. Here in Mandaluyong, we there are lots of agencies who are giving laptops, cell phones to our learners. I hope in other regions or in other areas will they will also have such people who are generous enough to provide them those.
Yes. In the Philippines, we have this famous line, sana all.
Yes.
Sana all to the LGU of Mandaluyong. I hope other LGUs could actually replicate that best practice that you have in Mandaluyong City. All right. And I think this also calls for a leadership and initiative of the school heads to source out whenever possible, like asking donations from the philanthropies and even our local officials. Okay, so they need to establish partnership with this, local officials, including philanthropies, to at least help them out in providing gadgets to our students who couldn't afford that gadget. All right, thank you, Mama Maribeth, for that. For sharing us the best practices that you're actually exhibiting in Mandaluyong City. Shout out to the mayor of
Sana all,
Mandaluyong.
sir.
San. And then we've got another question here from Dr. Rajesh Sudakar Wachuri. Sir, I hope or ma'am, I hope I pronounced your name well. Dr. Rajesh is asking, how can we popularize the concept of differentiated instructions in higher educational institutions? I think this is a good question. What Sariki is trying to explain to us is this kind of differentiated is actually being observed in basic education. So what about the higher education?
Okay. Another very good question. All right, but I think considering the age bracket of of the students in the higher educational institutions, like in that stage, in this stage, they know already what they like to do, what they want to do. So I guess it's more the role of differentiated instructions here is more on the decision making of the students, whether what task they will do, and then what say, for example, what course they need to enroll, because once they decide on the course that they will take or they will enroll with, then eventually I would probably say that they are ready for the different activities that that is expected on that particular course in the higher education. And and that's it. I should say that it's matter of decision making of the students. The role of
Yes.
differentiated instruction will depends on the decision
Hmm?
making of the students in that educational institutions.
Yes, thank you for that very insightful answer, Sireki. But I think here in the Philippines, in higher institution, we have the so-called academic freedom. All right, that makes it differ with the basic
Mm-hmm.
education. Meaning to say, as an
Mm-hmm.
instructor in the college, you have this freedom to uh, come up. You can actually deliver your lesson the way you want it to be.
Hmm.
Make sure that it's going to
Yes.
be effective to your
Mm-hmm.
students. I mean, you have this discretion to deliver the lesson the way you want it to be, okay, without sacrificing the quality of the instruction. All right. Unlike in basic education, everything is uniform, unilateral. But in
Yes.
higher institutions, you have that freedom. Okay, but make sure that it does not. It does not go astray with the standard. I mean,
Of the
curriculum that's being
institutions.
yes, yeah, of the institution. That's it. All right. So I think we have another question. This time from Christina Bisquera. or rather, she's asking
Okay.
if we can only apply DI, that's differentiated instruction and assessment, in asynchronous mode since we have limited contact time in our online classes.
Yes, especially in our case here in NCR, we only have like 20 minutes or 25 minutes for our synchronous class, which is online. So we'll definitely, we cannot afford to do that. Differentiated instructions. But say, for example, during our asynchronous time, wherein we can give instructions like in a particular, say, for example, our lessons about poem, and just like the example that I had gave a while ago, say for example you could have like you can let the student choose whether he will sing the first stanza, he will draw the idea in the first stanza, he will make it into rap, he will like compose a melody in that stanza like that. So yes, if given the time constraints, then we cannot do the DI in asynchronous time. Say for example, nga, if we have 20 minutes for synchronous, and that will not be enough time.
All right, here we go. Thank you, sir, for that answer. All right. So we have this time from Carol Cipilio. Okay, as a parent, how can we effectively guide our children in becoming a responsible user of the internet? Okay, anybody from you guys? I think let's hear from Ma'am Maribeth.
Okay, sir. The most important thing here is the guidance of the parents. Parents should need to guide their children whenever they are using the internet. We should teach them because nowadays most parents are very busy, so they most of the time they will just give a gadget to their children and then leave them alone and the children, the learners, could do whatever they want to do. Well, I think thank you for this question. It is actually a very nice question. And with this, I would like to reiterate that the parent role is very important whenever the children, a child is being exposed to internet, because once they are using the gadget and they have internet at home, they could go or they could visit any site that
Yes,
would appear to their laptop or their cell
yes,
phone, and we're not sure if that site or the is
suitable for
appropriate for
them.
their, yeah,
Yes,
is suitable for that, for their age, or whether it is safe for them. So the most important thing is the guidance of the parents. Please spend time with your children, educate them, and teach them what they should do with the gadget,
yes, a
and
very
also
good answer.
limit also the use of the gadget.
Yes, that's a very good and insightful answer, Ma'am Mary Beth, because here in the Philippines, we don't have restrictions when it comes to
Yes.
browsing, surfing the internet, unlike other countries wherein they have this, restrictions, especially among the students. So I think this would require a policy recommendation that
At home.
I mean it needs to this needs to bring the attention of our top management, especially maybe in the Senate, to look into this issue and come up with a policy that would restrict the use of our young people today can now browse anything they wanted to browse from the internet, okay, without any limitation. And we don't know what are they browsing actually. So parental involvement, that's the word, is cannot be disregarded at this time. It plays a very significant role, especially in this digital age. All right.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, okay, thank you, ma'am,
I
for that
agree, I agree.
answer. Lamberto Pilatan says, thank you so much, ma'am Maribeth. Thank you for your great answer. Congratulations. All right, that's a compliment from, okay, do we have, and also thank you so much, Sir Ricky, as always. What an insightful and brilliant answer. Congratulations, sir. Okay, from Loretta de Jose, thank you, dear brilliant speakers, Ma'am Maribeth and Sir Ricky. That's a very, okay, thank you guys for your super chat. Okay. It's a pleasure to know that you're still there supporting us. All right. So, meaning, I mean, I think that's all what we have for the question and answer portion. All right. So, that brings us to the end of another fruitful webinar tonight. So, may I ask you guys to show your appreciation to our speakers tonight? All right. Some of them are really showing their appreciation by, uh, I mean, by providing the super chat, expressing their appreciation to our speakers for tonight. And on behalf of IGP, we would like to express our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to our speakers for tonight, Ma'am Mary Beth R. De La Cruz and Sir Ricky Say Montano, all from the Philippines, for taking time off of your busy schedules and join us for tonight's webinar. All right. We hope that you have gained considerable insight into our discussion on digitized teaching and instruction. All right. To our live audience tonight, we appreciate your keen interest in this webinar. Your time and active participation is much appreciated. Thank you. All right. Again, thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for another webinar series. Gafor Im Panimbang here saying, let's keep continue learning. Keep safe always. Thank you, and God bless. Oh, by the way, we're showing you the code for tonight's webinar. Okay. We have IGP 7462. I repeat, that's IGP 7462. Okay. That's the code that you have to use in claiming or downloading your e-certificate for tonight's webinar. All right. Just go to our website and find the title of today's program. That's Digitize Teaching and Instructions. All right. So let's call it a day or a night.
Thank you, Sir Gapor. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sir Ricky.
Thank you
Yes.
po. Thank
No
you.
problem. No problem. So that means we have to leave the studio. All right. Let's click one all together. One, two, three, go.